Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Faith Builder. Hope you're well this Monday morning, and also happy Memorial Day. Hope you're going to have a great day. I want to talk this week. We're transitioning into really looking at this issue of health, sickness and health. How do we look at those with a faith lens, a faith understanding of sickness and health? I think until we've really struggled with our health, we don't really understand how important our health is to us. And we don't understand really how important our health is when we think about prosperity. That prosperity, at the core of that, is understanding our health, mind, body, and spirit, our entire being. What I've realized that over the years, and also just biblically speaking, is that the main factors that determine how we view sickness and health are really connected to our understanding of our origin. How did we get here? How were we created? Also, what is our eternal state? What is the hope of our body? Those things and our understanding of those things radically impact our body and our view, obviously, of how we see our body in sickness. I want to just talk a little bit about that this morning as we introduce this week, because we want to drill in this week just this idea of how do we fight? How do we apply faith to sickness? And obviously this is a critical importance. We're in the middle of this COVID, hopefully coming out of this COVID pandemic. And for many of us, we've been removed from it. But it's a whole nother thing if you have somebody close to you who has suffered deeply and even close to death. It raises the issues completely of how we deal with that, how we look at these things. And so I think it's important that we understand and we have a good faith lens for how we understand sickness and health and what's available to us from God. I just want to start off with this big statement that we're going to break down this week together. But God's heart is to save and heal and deliver always. Let me say that again. God's heart is to save, heal, and deliver always. We'll dive into that, break that down a little bit more this week. It doesn't always happen, obviously, but that is at the core of God, of our Heavenly Father. His goodness is that His heart is to save, heal, and deliver always. And He's provided through Jesus avenues that we can fight against sickness, and we can get into the faith fight on this, and we're going to dive into this later this week. But I just want to break down this idea. First, we have to understand what is our idea, what's forming our idea of health and sickness, and just look at some of the other worldviews. The Eastern worldviews see no eternal value in the physical body or in our unique personal identities. This is very important. All the Eastern beliefs. Suffering is seen as illusion to them, Buddhist, Hindu, all those. It's an expected result of just bad karma. There is no guarantee of freedom from suffering or sickness, period, in those worldviews. Islam sees the body as strictly an instrument to submit to Allah in the chance that He may accept you. There is no personal relationship between the individual soul and God within Islam. But the Judeo-Christian worldview, the biblical worldview, begins in Genesis chapter 1 by affirming the goodness of all creation. And all through the Bible, the value of the entire being of our mind, our body, and our spirit is upheld, along with the promise of restoring and resurrecting even our physical body. So every bit of it was created good by God, but we've, from back to Genesis, it's a fallen world. We've sinned and turned from God, so we have fallen and we need redemption. And the promises of Christianity is that God is redeeming not just our mind and our emotions, our will, our entire spiritual being, but also our physical being. This is unlike any other view in the world, worldview or religion in the world. It has such hope, and that we have a new creation waiting for us. This is the framework we are to use to build a healthy view of sickness and healing. Unfortunately, today, many of these other worldviews, especially the Eastern worldviews, are influencing even believers in wrong ways about health and healing. And there's some things that we can unite on. There's some truth that cuts just truth. All truth is God's truth, and it cuts through all different avenues. In the Western culture, we have, for the most part, been content with technological advancements to try and solve the practical problems of sickness. Now, we know all medicine and technology, it's a gift from God. And God uses those things, right, for our healing sometimes. But very little time do we spend in pursuing root causes for these things, the philosophical and theological ramifications, right, of sickness. Sadly, much of the church, especially the Western church, has taken a similar approach and left the solutions to sickness to the medical field rather than bringing the power of the gospel to bear alongside the medical technology. Science and technology are a gift from God, who has given mankind the ability to do amazing things. It's important to understand that whether it's medicine or strictly supernatural, it is all God's gift of healing. Later in this chapter, we're going to talk about how do we integrate both the spiritual healing and using medical. We'll deal with that this week. But I just want to come back to what we started with. God's heart is to save, heal, and deliver always. And he has given us resources to press into root causes and by faith come alongside also medicine and other technology to see healing happen. So I hope that encourages. We first have to go after this core issue of the goodness of God's heart. His heart is to heal, and all the different means that are available to us. And we need to start there when we talk about healing, we talk about sickness. I hope that encourages you. Hope you'll join in this week as we dive into this issue. Have an amazing Memorial Day. God bless.